Greetings, my friends. It is I, Dr. Jimmy. I'm very pleased to see you. Oh, there's Lenny. She's off to the side. You can't see her just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if she popped up. This is today's lovely t-shirt, Leatherface. It's a parody of the Scarface poster. Yes. It is the lovely day of Thursday, July 26th, 2018. And I have to regret to inform you that yet again, this is not going to be my 12th video in my series on the history of Universal Orlando Halloween Horror Nights 25. Hopefully before the summer is over I can get to that one and all the other videos on the history of Halloween Horror Nights 25 as well as 26 and 27 and get them all done before Halloween Horror Night 28 comes up. But no, once again, a whole lot of exciting announcements have been popping up about Horror Nights all around the world. Oh my goodness, so wonderful that I must come back and do these videos now for you. First, it was just about 2 weeks ago, roughly, I think it was Thursday, week before last indeed, that there was a tweet that popped up on the @HorrorNights Twitter. I must make something perfectly clear to all of you. @HorrorNights is a Twitter for the event of Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights, which is held at Universal Studios Hollywood. Da 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 da. Yes, the wonderful and original Universal Studios park that started out not as a theme park at all, but an actual working movie studio back in the, I think it was the year 1912. Carl Laemmle founded Universal Studios, Universal Pictures, way back in over 100 years ago, and over the decades. Indeed more than 100 years now, it has evolved into not just a studio with a backstage tour, but a full-blown theme park, but still is a working production studio to this day. The one in Florida started out hoping to be a production studio, but not quite anywhere. They still do film some things once in a while, but it's really more of a theme park all around. In fact, it's a bunch of theme parks, a whole resort. So the one in Hollywood, though, is where it all started in 1986, you see. It's been off and on, but it's been continuing since 2006, thanks to a lovely man named John Murdy, who came back to work for the company that year, and has been running the show for Horror Nights ever since. And indeed, he himself makes these tweets on @Horror Nights, which is for the event in Hollywood. There's a different Twitter, a separate Twitter called @HorrorNights ORL. Look at that one if you want to find out about stuff happening in Orlando. Used to be done by the showrunner here, Matt Coelho. He doesn't do it anymore. It's a social media team that does that. They don't necessarily know anything other than what publicity gives them to post. Murdy, though, he knows what's all going on, and so sometimes he gives us secret clues and little code names and funny games for us to play and stuff. So it's always exciting when Murdy tweets, especially when he tweets these words. By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes, which, if you know your Shakespeare, is a quotation from a certain notable play, Black Cat, appropriate enough. No, a certain great tragedy of Shakespeare's that is set in the country of Scotland. Yeah, Scotland, and therefore is often referred to by the nickname the Scottish play, because a lot of show folk feel that there's something a bit ominous, a bit spooky. There might be an evil curse here. don't want to say the name of the play out loud. It could evoke the forces of darkness. In fact, there's a thunderstorm brewing even as I speak. Oh boy, I hope I can do my video and overshout the loud noises of tin roof rusted above me, which makes it, in this particular conservatory, it gets rather loud when it rains. In fact, if I get electrical activity, I may have to scrub the video all together and make another one later, because, you know, computers and lightning don't mix well. Although the atmospherics are quite appropriate for horror nights. Anyway, getting back to it. The Scottish play has a real name, but we don't want to say it, especially like myself, because in a previous lifetime, so to speak, many decades ago, yes, Dr. Jimmy was once a thespian, and I walked the boards and orated Shakespearean verse on a stage, and at one point I was even on telly. But this isn't about that. No, this is about the play itself, which I will say this, since this is about horror nights, although it's about Hollywood, not Orlando, nevertheless, the name of the play rhymes with Jack Death. So if you're at least a bit literate, you might know what I'm talking about. Ha! Anyway, when he quotes this particular line, which comes from a scene early in the play where the three old witches are on the heath, the three weird sisters, and they see the title character coming along, and they know he's a bit of a douche, and they say that line, "Oh, by the pricking of my thumb, something wicked this way comes," which, when I was a kid back in high school, I used to rearrange that when we were studying Shakespeare in school, and I'd say, "By the thumbing of my prick, something comes damn too quick." Ooh, that's naughty. But when he quotes that, what he's saying to us is, there's an official announcement imminent for Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood. Ooh, exciting. But then he went on to say, get some sleep, don't stay up too late, and I'll see you on the other side. Not a clue. And by that he meant that the announcement wouldn't happen Thursday night. We'd have to wait till Friday morning, so don't stay up way into wee hours waiting for it. It's not going to come. See you on the other side, however, may have been a clue, but not for this one, for something hasn't been announced yet. At least that's because Murdy's canny. Yes, he is. So the next morning we waited, and there was but it was announced all abruptly. Just a video on the Twitter and on the Facebook, and it was just a video, and it didn't say anything other than Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights 2018, and the video was for the First Purge. Yes, the current movie that's going on in cinemas even. In fact, I think it opened the week before the announcement was made. 4th of July weekend. First Purge, which is a prequel to all the other Purge movies from the past. You know, the Purge, Purge Anarchy, Purge Election Year. This tells how the whole Purge thing started way back before that. And it's rather interesting. Haven't actually seen it yet, but I've heard a few things about it. And just a video. And so people got confused by that. People were saying, oh, is this in Orlando? Are we getting the Purge again? And people were going like, is this a maze, or is it a scare zone, or a terror trap? Because they didn't pay attention, I'm afraid. Because the night before, after that tweet I mentioned, he did tweet again and said, maze announcement tomorrow. Just sort of blurted that out, maze announcement tomorrow. So he knew it was a maze, or you should have known it was a maze. It is, in fact, the third haunted maze announced for Hollywood, the First Purge, and it's an all-new Purge maze. And I do have here, once I can bring this up, tap, 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 and here it is, on the website, the artwork for the First Purge, very lovely, on the Horror Nights site for Hollywood. So that is that one. Now, so much negative people were reacting, oh meh, Purge again. It's like The Walking Dead, oh we get this Purge anymore. And it's based on some misconceptions. You see, there have been a couple of Purge scare zones in Hollywood and the Terror Tram, but the only time they ever had it in a maze was last year during the Horrors of Blumhouse. And there was only one little scene in that Horrors of Blumhouse house. That's the closest they've ever had to a full Purge maze in Hollywood. In fact, there's never been, ever before, a fully purposed Purge house or maze, because the one in Orlando in 2015 wasn't supposed to happen in the first place. They did a Purge scare zone. The next year they had to do a Purge house by accident, sort of, when what they wanted to do couldn't happen, and they already were building the damn house and found out they couldn't do it, and so they put a Purge overlay, because the Purge is a universal property through Blumhouse, and they could do that easily and cover it up. They did a pretty good job considering it was last minute shit. Same thing happened last year. Horrors of Blumhouse in Orlando was not originally supposed to have any Purge scenes. It was supposed to have scenes from a movie called Ouija, but Hasbro told them they couldn't use the trademark, and so they had to overlay Purge over the Ouija scenes, which was pretty obvious if you ever saw Ouija. So they've never really done a purposed Purge haunted house in Orlando. They've admit from scratch what was supposed to be Purge to begin with. They've never actually done that there, and they've never really had a full Purge maze in Hollywood either. This is the first ever Purge maze that has been fully purposed and designed from the beginning to be the Purge. So people don't, we've always had so many Purge before. We've never had a house or a maze that was really designed from the get-go to be the Purge. And also this one is specifically the first Purge. It's not going to have the stuff from the Purge or Purge Anarchy or Purge Election year. That would be anachronistic. That hasn't happened yet. That's in the future. This is many years before. And Murdy said that when he read the script for the first Purge, he got really excited about it. And he wanted to do that specifically as a Purge maze. So the first Purge talks about the Purge starting, the new founding fathers have just seized power, and they decide to experiment, have a beta test of what they want to do with this Purge, and they have this happening only in Staten Island in New York, especially in the African American communities. They say it's to purge all your negative feelings and violence out by this night of rampaging crime, but in fact what they want to do is purge any people they don't like, especially they don't like black people, so they want to get rid of them, and they hope that all the black people in Staten Island will kill each other during the Purge. And what happens, not to make a spoiler or anything, but what happens is they don't. They start having like weed parties and raves, and because someone once said that if the Purge ever happened for real, I think it was Peter Davidson on whatever his name is on Saturday Night Live, who said if the Purge ever happened for real, everyone would just go home and get stoned, which is probably true. There's a cat again. So that sort of happens. There's one loony named Skeletor, from He-Man, who decides he wants to kill people. But for the most part, he's just one guy. So the government sends in troops to kill people so they can be successful to purge a bunch of people. And then after that, they decide to continue it once a year. I've spoiled the movie for you, but go see it anyway. It should be quite good. Oh, it's political. All the Purge movies are political, you net. The whole thing has been an allegory about what's happening right now in America. Ever heard of Black Lives Matter? What do you think that's about? It's happening for real. It's just not called the Purge. I mean, it's an allegory, political allegory. Has been. Like, get out, If you know anything about Jason Blum, you know that he's kind of to the left, of Bernie Sanders. So he's like not exactly a Trump supporter. Oh, so I'm actually excited about this. I won't see it because it's not likely I'm going to get to Hollywood this year. I'd like to see it. I look forward to watching video walkthroughs on YouTube, and I expect it to be quite fun. And I, for one, for all the people saying, Purge again, ew. Hey, if I lived in Hollywood, I would go to this and I'd be excited about it, okay? That's my own little thing. So that's it. That's the first big announcement, the first video. I'll continue with the second one with the next big announcement, which happened last week.